I was going to say, you said you did not have a life at 20. However, um, in a previous podcast, we talked to this guy named Dylan Jones. I'm sure you know this guy. You were a Blitz kid, and you were telling your stories about being in Billy's. And there's some really good. You have some music anecdotes about, like, you step into this Billy's, and then what? I mean, your first impression was like, oh, we need a synth in our band, or what?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so let me fill in the gaps
Yeah.
for the American audience, right?
Yeah.
So the UK has become the center of pop culture, and that happened with the Beatles. And since then, youth culture, place, and pop culture become intertwined. And any new movement is built around a piece of geography, a place to arrive and be seen and go, and maybe not get in. So, tough luck if the ones who get in are the privileged, right? So if you look at places like the Railway Tavern with the Rolling Stones, or you've got the UFO Club, which happens in '67 with Pink Floyd and psychedelia. You've got the Middle Earth, which is in Covent Garden, and that's the new club, and that's glam rock, that's T-Rex. Then you've got the Roxy for punk. And then so suddenly we're at the end of the '70s, and everyone's going, what's happening next? Who's got the baton? And this guy called Steve Strange and his friend Rusty Egan start this club up on a Tuesday night, and it's basically a Bowie night. And they're taking over a club because Tuesday night is their dead night. So suddenly all these fashion students from a really great fashion school here called St. Martin's College, and a few really cool kids, none of whom have got any money, and are making their own clothes, are finding stuff in thrift stores, are starting to arrive in this club. And Rusty Egan is playing really extraordinary electronic music because Bowie has validated Berlin. So he's gone to Berlin, Rusty, and he's brought back all these amazing, electronic songs, Kraftwerk and Gina X, Nina Hagen, and La Dusseldorf, and, Telex, and all of that's being played and mixed up with some Bowie stuff and Iggy Pop. And this generation that I'm involved in, we cut our teeth on Bowie and glam rock. So dressing up is important to us. It's what we do, boys wearing makeup. And we became the house band of that. And that's the beginning of what people call the New Romantics, you guys call New Wave. And we were all sitting there, these kids in 1978, 1979, all determined to create the pop culture of the next decade. And while we're doing that in London, Duran Duran are doing it at the Rum Runner in Birmingham, and ABC Human League are doing it at a club in Sheffield.
It's just insane. But okay, so how did you end up in this book? This Sweet Dreams is the book by Dylan Jones. You tell the story that I think you're 16. You happened to be at a show with the Sex Pistols, the Clash, and the Buzzcocks. Did you know ahead of time, like, oh, this is a show, this is something I need to see? Or was there a buzz about that, or it was just a bunch of friends that happened to fall into this place at that time?
Yeah, we had our ear to the ground as kids, so something was going to happen. And this was in Islington where we lived. This happened. This was at a cinema called Screen on the Green, and the new assistant there had come from our school. He'd left school and he wanted to be in the movie business. And there's a guy called Stephen Woolley. Stephen Woolley produced major motion pictures now. He's part of Palace Pictures, and they did the film Mona Lisa and a lot, loads of movies. But then he was a kid, and he told Steve Dagger, who was managing us, he wasn't managing us then. He didn't manage us. He was just a friend. He was 3 years older than us. That the Pistols and supported by the Clash and the Buzzcocks were all going to be playing at the Screen on the Green on Saturday night. So we went along. There was a buzz in the air that this band was worth seeing. And I'd been playing at that time in another band with a bunch of older guys doing sort of a mixture of weird stuff, jazz, funk, country, rock, God knows, just anything to play. I mean, they were much, much older than me. And then I saw this show, which was extraordinary, the sort of, I guess it would have been like walking into CBGB's or something. at the
Right.
same time and seeing Iggy play or Ramones. And I went into rehearsals the next day and I went, I'm quitting. And we went back into school about 2 weeks later, and me and Steve Norman and John Keeble and Tony Hadley formed a band, which eventually became Spandau Ballet. But it was that night that changed my life.